All right, y'all, what's up and welcome back. So today I'm gonna finally rebuild this bed. So this bed is out of the old truck and it fit perfectly in there, but in this truck it's not quite tall enough to get all the way to the side and go over the wheel well. And there are a couple of things I'd like to change about this, which I can show you that. So I had this issue in the old truck too, is that if you push the bed all the way forward, you can't open the lid because there's this big push out on the side of the bed here. So you have to have it, you know, a few inches down. So my plan is to build a new one or whatever. It's going to be almost the same design as this, but we'll run a 1x4 strip over here that'll space this lid out. And then we'll kind of do the same thing on the back side so that the hinge is, you know, if this was all the way to the end, the hinges would be like right here. So instead of opening through the whole thing, the back areas over here we'll just have a stationary lid, but you can still get to it from underneath here. But as you can see, this is all just 2x2s. The top is 1x4s, and then on the outside edge here we've got some 1/4 inch ply and just some little strips of pine or whatever. And then I've got like a little corner cap over here which is actually broken. So anyways, been using that bed since 2015. It's just time for a rebuild. So this one's also only about 24 inches wide because that's the size of the mattress that I had. I did pick up a new mattress that's 30 inches wide. So it's going to be, it's gonna end up sitting right about here, I believe. And you should be able to see how much of a gap there is over here. But I'm probably not gonna like break the whole build down as I do it. I'm just gonna knock it out and then I can kind of show you guys how it works at the end. So stay tuned, y'all. So I talked about it a little bit on our live stream, but that and those 2 pieces of plywood, you can see it's not a whole lot of wood. That's all just pine. That's $200 worth of wood. I do have a couple of hinges there, but yeah, this is just some skinny ply, like 2x4 sheets, which should be enough. But I need to move the van so I can grab my saw from back there. And I think all my screws are on a shelf over there. All right, so I've got a bunch of pieces cut out and right there also, so this should be enough. Don't mind the barking dogs. Should be enough to do those little risers all around the end cap frame and then the runners here. So we'll get basically the frame made with this stuff. I'm just gonna clamp everything together, pre-drill and screw. If you can see, like, I only ran 1 screw in and then there's like 1 screw in here. Once you get the side stuff off, it helps to hold everything a little bit more stable so these like don't twist. You see I can twist that just a little bit since that doesn't have anything around there, but it's fine. It's more than enough support for what I need. And for this I'm using 2.5 inch number 9s deck screws, just because this is what I've got. I should have plenty to do this project. On the sides and the trim we'll use some like, I've got a nail gun with like trim nails and stuff. Those dogs, I tell you what, man, I love dogs, but sometimes they just don't stop. And I would recommend, if you're gonna do something like this, it takes a while longer, but definitely pre-drill all your holes because it's going to save you a headache. With some of this stuff, you definitely have the opportunity to split your stuff, but All right, so here's kind of a mock-up. This piece is not mounted and this isn't mounted, just checking clearances on how I want to do everything. So right now I'm just measuring for where this needs to go to clear the wheel well. But we're getting there. Picked 7 1/4 to the outside of this edge to clear the wheel well and whatnot. Should work fine. All right, I added a couple of more pieces. Like you can see that one there. And then if I get in here a little ways, you can kind of see one right there also. This one doesn't look quite the same. And the reason for that is there's a push out on the bed here. So this just needs to support a board back there. The lid will only hinge from right here. So that'll be a little area that you have to kind of grab into. But I figured having a little bit of support around the wheel wells would be all right. I may end up adding a couple of more of these like in the end, although I don't really feel like it's necessary. We'll just see. But I'm gonna go ahead and kind of add a couple of strips of 1x4 to the back and then up here where I need to, and then we can kind of get going on the lid route. Well, Greg showed up to give me a little bit of moral support, and 2 eyes are always better than 1. What do you think?
That should work.
All right. All right, y'all. Well, I guess welcome back. It's day number 2. I worked on this thing, and then you guys saw Greg show up. We sat around and talked for a while. Didn't get a whole lot done at that point, but I worked on a little bit more, and I actually needed to run to the store and grab another couple pieces of wood. So I did just that. We've got a couple more 1x4s here, and let me go ahead and pull this out quick. Let's grab those. Set up. Front end loader go by. Anyways, there's where we're at for the bed. There's where it's gonna sit. So I need to put one more strip of wood up there, but I wanted to wait until I got the lid dimension, so because that's gonna stick out a little bit more. So we just need to knock out this lid quick. There's the old bed and junk. Yeah, knock out the lid and we'll skin it and trim it and see what it looks like at that point. I got everything stuffed under the van, all the wood and stuff, and there's my saw. I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff set up. We'll be back to work. Sit just like that. So I'm gonna get my edge, because I am gonna have a little bit of overhang, so I'm gonna set this one, and then I'll just evenly space the few boards that I have left in the middle. And it's gonna be a slightly larger gap on the end here because of these hinges. When we get to them, you can see how it sticks out on one side and it doesn't on the other. I'm gonna mount it flat this way so that it's going underneath, and so we'll have that little gap there that it'll set the end. Kind of just winging this whole project, you guys, so it started out all right. I grabbed a drill bit. This is a 3/8 bit, and I got my end board set, and this was about the best thing I had to get even spacing. So I'm just making sure everything's lined up and spaced evenly on this end, putting one screw in each of these middle boards, and then I'll flip to the other end, make sure it's even, put a screw in, probably 2 screws in over there, so I have the ability to move this a little bit, and then I can come back and put screws in here, and then I'll do the same thing in the middle. I'll be able to shove this in there because a couple of the boards are slightly bowed, so it should work. It'll look good enough for being covered up by a mattress 99% of the time. And I guess while I'm talking, you're probably, some of you might be wondering or thinking, well, it's easier to just use a sheet of plywood. And you're right, you could. But one of the things that you have to think about is having airflow under your mattress, because you can end up with like moisture under there if it's just a solid barrier. So this allows air to come up around the bottom of your mattress. It'll flow through and flow up, and it's good for it, you know. All right guys, the lid is all screwed together. I still need to put one board that way across the front of it, but it'll sit just about like this. I think I'm about to put the hinges on. I've got 3 hinges. Obviously they're meant to go the other direction. They've got a little chamfer on the hole here, but it'll be fine this way. And I guess you guys can see there the difference maybe on if you had it up versus down. Maybe you can see that, I don't know. It'll give, you know, I'm worried that if up there I might feel that. Probably not, but we'll do them upside down. And I guess just to show you the bottom of the lid here, 2 screws in each one. Once I got the couple of end pieces over, I flipped it over and I drilled everything out on here. That way I had something to push against, and it worked perfectly. So I think we'll just go ahead and knock these hinges out. All right, we've got our end piece screwed on there. You can see how that works. And there's enough room here so that I can open the lid without moving the bed, which is really one of the main things I wanted to do. And you can probably see how tight that is up against the front. It's completely against the wheel well over there, and it fits perfectly. Whew. I'm pretty stoked on this. I need to skin it out quick, and yeah, let's just knock that out. Yeah, perfect. And there's a lot more room underneath. I'm sure some of you guys are gonna be like, why didn't you put a drawer in? Why didn't you put a drawer in? All this nonsense. If you look at the end, it's just like this, right? And each of these, this is a 2x2, so it's 1.5 by 1.5. So if you had a drawer right here, like it's the same spot as the end, you'd lose 3 inches. You know, you'd lose that space on the bottom plus the height of your whatever you have for a drawer, and then you'd lose this spot because nothing could slide past that. And then you also have this area up here, so you'd lose on top, you'd lose like 2 inches of space for the most part, and on the bottom you'd lose 1.5 inches, and I just don't find it necessary. You know, I've never found it necessary in the old truck or with the old bed, so I don't feel like there was any reason to do that. Plus, more wood equals more weight, and this bed is already a bit heavier because it is larger. And there's a couple more boards on the back side of it that the other bed didn't have. But all right, let's skin her out. Need this, probably need this. Could bust out the table saw for this, but I don't really need that. For a couple of cuts I need to make, we'll use this on our pieces of plywood, and then I've got a little nail gun that we can use for the trim strips. All right, y'all, I got these pieces of plywood cut out, and you can see I kind of got them up here. I'm mocking this up. I got some clamps and whatnot. I'm going to throw a little bead of glue behind it, and then, like I said, we'll take our nail gun here, and I've got some finished nails. Probably use these 1.5 inch ones. Yeah, that'll be good. Maybe we'll do 1.25 inch on this, and then when I put the trim piece on the outside, we might go to a longer nail or whatever. But I am going to glue both of these, since I had a little bit of an issue of the trim ripping off of that one if I drug it on the carpet. But this will come up and meet that, so we have a good edge there, and we'll have a tiny little gap on the bottom, which I can also do with the trim pieces. But I'm going to go ahead and slap these on here. All right, it's all on there. We're gonna give these clamps a few minutes. These had a little bit of a bow in them, and I used a lot of nails, so it's all right. That'll get covered with our trim. So we're gonna do just like the other one. We'll put a piece of trim right here, run a couple down that way and a couple down that way, and we've got a corner piece to cover this up, and then a couple of pieces of trim there. So this is our like top and bottom trim. It'll fit good. And then right here we've got our corner trim, which I wish I would have gotten a slightly larger piece, but it fits, just barely covers up the gap on this side. That'll cover up that nasty gap, and not worried about the nail holes or anything. We could fill these if we were worried about it, but I'm not that serious. went to nail the side piece in, and I knew it was going to be tight, and I popped a nail out there. I'll have to pull that out, and I can glue that piece back in. Mistakes happen. Well, I wouldn't even call that a mistake. Shit happens. Stayed calm, had patience, and I was able to get the whole thing out of there. Didn't screw it up too bad. Should be able to just glue this piece back in without spilling too much of the glue out of it. Can you see the line, Russ? This with the glue, I think I'm just gonna leave it with the 2 nails on this side. I don't know if I want to risk shoving a nail in and screwing that up on this side. We'll just get our 2 strips there, strips here, and strips there, and we'll call it good. Alright, there we go. It's all finished up. Not too shabby. Fits perfectly in here. I did a little bit of trimming on this edge and just sanded that a little bit. I also knocked the edge off all of these just for now. Hop in here. See how it fits up against the wall over there. And we've got a ton of space under here. Fits tight against the wheel well. And it looks nice. And there's not, other than on the lid there, like on the outside, there's no exposed fasteners other than the hinges and, you know, where I put the nails in and stuff like that. But overall, I'm satisfied with it. And I guess you guys probably want to see me sit on it to see what the headroom is like. So it ended up 3/4 of an inch taller than the old bed in order to perfectly clear the wheel well and be able to be pushed up against the wall. And sitting on it, you can see I still have a little bit of room. If I'm sitting perfectly straight up, I've got, you know, an inch of room up there. So, you know, like I said, I did get a bigger mattress and things like that. I do plan to build a cabinet over here, something nicer than I had in the last rig with like the plastic drawers and whatnot, but I'm heading out on a road trip, so that's gonna wait, and the stain on this thing is gonna wait. And I asked you guys in the live stream whether you wanted to do it gray again or try a different color. Like I was thinking a dark brown possibly, but most of you guys said gray. So it'll probably be gray unless you guys can think of something better. I mean, everything in here is black and gray. It's just gonna go together. But for now, I'm very satisfied with how this thing turned out. It's probably a little bit heavier than the old one, but that'll be fine. Just to show you guys. So the old bed, the old bed was a total of 25 inches wide, and this is, with this little overhang, probably just over 30. So it'll be nice laying down on my side to have more room, because as I have gotten older, I've realized that the old bed was pretty skinny. So it'll be nice to have a wider bed. I did check, my cooler still fits in here and everything will fit fine. If I'm sitting up here and I have the cooler there, I'll have a little bit less room, but once again, it'll be fine. I'd prefer to have a slightly larger bed, and I have a little bit more room underneath now for storage. But like I said, I'm gonna be headed out on a road trip. I'll be out for a little while, so it should be a good one. So if you guys want to see what this looks like with the mattress and everything on it, and watch me camping in it, make sure you watch the next one. Subscribe if you hadn't, hit the like button, all that nonsense. Feels good to have a new bed after 9 years with the old one, so pretty excited about this. But like I said, you gotta wait for the next one to see it in use, and we'll finish everything else up in here, and we'll throw a nice coat of stain and everything on this eventually. Hopefully I don't beat it up too much on this trip, but it's made to get used. So anyways, y'all, stay tuned for the next adventure. I'll see you in a bit.